I hope you guys are having fun during the lockdown. It's, been an interesting experience. I went to the living room today. Yesterday, I went to the kitchen. I don't know what I'll do tomorrow. But yeah, making lots of videos. So I will start. To get you guys know, my name's Nat, and I have been teaching filmmaking for like 6 years now or something. I've worked at the BBC, Channel 4, the Olympics, a whole kind of like wide range of things. And I just thought, got some spare time, let's do something great. Now, can I all have a thumbs up if you guys can hear me okay? All right, great. So I'm going to share my screen now, and hopefully you will all be able to see it nice and clearly. And brilliant. Okay, great. You guys can see. So to give you a little explanation, Divergent Thinking has only recently been set up, and it's about thinking differently, coming at problems from a different perspective. I've got dyslexia and dyspraxia, which basically means my brain naturally thinks a bit different. And I think that's the reason I got into filmmaking. And I kind of wanted to share that with the rest of you guys. Now, it's based around the lockdown today, so how we can make films in kind of a tight environment, what subjects could we make movies on, how could we create like YouTube content, and we'll do with that. What you can expect is simple. I'm going to teach you some recording tips. Some of them are going to seem a bit basic, but there is a reason for that. It's because some of them people get wrong time and time again. And this is about getting good content. The next one is going to be about editing apps. There's so many different apps out there, and some of them are okay, some are not. Some of them it's a matter of preference. And I'm going to be showing you which ones I use, which ones are free, which ones you have to pay for. Are there any kind of like hidden captures? And the last bit is a competition. So it's completely optional, but you all have the chance of winning £50 or dollars of recording equipment today. It's not a lot, but you know what? It's just fun to be overall. And we'll get started. So as I mentioned, just so you guys believe I know what I'm on about, here's me looking professional in a bunch of suits with other people wearing suits. And recently I was on the BBC News kind of doing some interviews here and there. And you kind of get, more used to it. But I liked creating my own YouTube videos. I create my own vlogs, any sort of creative outlet. It could also be like Instagram stories, anything along those lines. But when I'm not making videos, I have been like busy with my Nerf gun. Ooh. I just wanted to show off I had one of these guns, to be honest. It's nothing to do with filmmaking. All right, and back again. Now, just to make sure you guys can all use the chat function, I want you all to write in the chat box something you've been watching while in lockdown. So I'm pretty certain I've watched every single thing on Netflix, like everything. I'm done. So I might have to move to Disney Plus at the moment. So any messages in the chat box? So yes, here we are, guys. Great stuff. So anything you've been watching, we've got, Orcs, I haven't watched that. Ozarks, Office, brilliant, Modern Family, classic, free trial for Disney Plus, Claire. I appreciate that. I really want to watch The Mandalorian, not watched it yet. John, Philadelphia, I've watched every episode. Falling down YouTube holes, yeah. I have seen such weird stuff on YouTube lately. I don't know, my, you know when it gives you your recommended videos? I've gone off. It's just taken me somewhere very weird. Caps are only the beginning. So we've got someone being some YouTube trolls, as long as it's not on my YouTube channel. Half of it yesterday. Awesome. Lost City of God. Lucy, I honestly watched Dora the Explorer, the movie, the other day. I honestly loved it. I'm not even joking. I thought it was great. Highly recommend it. Okay, so that's great. That's all working. So feel free to message out as we go along. And okay, now for some pro tips. Now, most of you look like you're all using your laptops to record this. So do you have your phone available? It doesn't matter if not, but it will make life easier. So the first tip is when you guys record videos, show me which way you hold your phone. Do you hold it landscape or portrait? So we've got portrait, landscape. Yeah, you've got a nice selection there. And landscape, brilliant. And the way that I'm going to tell you to do it is whenever you're making movies, always film landscape. Now, there's many reasons why this is. One, they look really professional. If you want to make a movie and you want people to take it seriously, you want it to be in the same aspect ratio as, say, your TV or computer monitor. Though, obviously, if you're doing things to, say, like Instagram stories or IGTV, not that I think anyone uses that, but you'd want to film for the platform you intend to show it on. So that's typically the rule. Always shoot for the one that you want to show it on. But for the sake of today, if you guys do film anything, film it this way. It will make my life so happy. If you remember anything, remember that. Now, the next rule is focus. Now, can I guys, hands up if any of you use a DSLR camera? So like when you do photography. Anyone? Okay, yeah, we see some. Now, if you want to do that type of photography, you always want to make sure the focus, make sure it's nice and clear, the image isn't blurry. But when it comes to say making movies on your phone, a lot of people don't realize that you have you have similar functions. So you can actually do the adjustments. Just to give this a go, I want you all to get your phone out, on camera mode, point it at my face, and if you hold down for a few seconds, if you have an iPhone, it will say AE/AF lock, and an Android, it will either be a circle or a square. So like that, and if you touch my face, you should kind of get like a ring. Thumbs up if you've got that to work. Okay, great. And good. Now, the reason you do that is your phone does automatically focus, but sometimes gets it a little bit wrong. And by touching it, you're telling the phone, this is what I want to be nice and clear. So say if I'm doing a vlog and I'm here, staying like this, I would focus on my face. If, however, I'm walking around the room, I'm moving in about my back garden, I'll have to keep retapping it to make sure it stays nice and clear. There's nothing worse than, say, recording a 15-minute YouTube rant and then you find your background it's focused on and your face is blurry. I have to do a separate rant about that then. So yeah, keep that in mind. Lighting. All right, guys, we're doing well. Great for time. So can any of you say what time of the day is the best for lighting? Like if we were to film at any time of the day. So yeah, in the chat. Okay, we got not midday. Let's see how do you, okay. Why not? Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm going to pronounce your name wrong. You're going to have to say it, Tanya.
My name's Taryn.
So why not midday? Or
well, when it's midday, the sun is right overhead, and that's really unflattering because you get shadows that are really long down your face. So if you're shooting people, not a good plan. And also if there's no cloud coverage, then it's really harsh light. But it depends on the effect you want. If you want that nice golden glow, then maybe evening or early morning is better.
Brilliant. No, great answer. So yeah, that was spot on. If you film, a lot of people always say midday, so when the sun's at its highest. But why that's not always a great idea is it's really unflattering. You'll get kind of shadows, and you might look like a horror movie. So the best time of the day could be golden hour, which is when either the sun is just rising and it kind of hits you from the side, or just setting and hitting you from the side. One will give you more yellowy look, one will give you a more whiter look, but really it kind of depends on the kind of aesthetic you're going for. So that's great. I would always say if you can get natural light, it's by far the best. It looks like we're from all over the world at the moment. I'm sure you guys can guess by my accent, I'm from the UK, and surprisingly, we've actually got good weather at the moment. Just a shame we're on lockdown. It's, I call that like fate, evil fate. But there are some things that can go wrong when doing photography. So you see this image, this person has gone like silhouetted. Do any of you know why this image has turned out this way? Okay, exposure from the sky, nice. Anyone else? Towards light source, nice. Okay, let's try and unmute. All right, Catherine, I unmuted you if you're happy to talk.
Yeah.
So do you want to explain why it turned out this way?
So, because when you basically you should aim to get the light sort of so it's directed at it, because then it helps the camera naturally focus on it. In the same way, like your eyes will always focus better if there's light directed at something as opposed to light in your eyes. So the lens kind of works the same, is that it wants to sort of orientate itself so it can like deal with that light focus, so it fixes itself on that rather than like the person.
Brilliant. No, that's a great explanation. Better than mine actually. But it's essentially, you've got your lens, right? And the light goes through the lens and you've got a sensor at the back of the camera. And the way it kind of can tell you what an image is and what an image isn't is by like the different light. So your camera's always looking for the brightest thing. Now, if the background is brighter than your face, it's going to focus on the background. And that's not always great. A lot of the time when you say just getting your phone out and wanting to record someone, you don't really take much notice about what direction, but you really should. So a good way I always remember is, if you guys want to take your phones out now, and I want you to try and take 2 selfies, okay? One don't worry, I'm not going to look at them. One selfie looking at the window and one selfie looking away from the window. And by doing that, you should see a really obvious difference, fingers crossed, depending on your lighting conditions, terms and conditions. And that always makes a massive difference. Yeah, looking good. I'm loving this, seeing you guys all like kind of moving around, getting some exercise. And if you ever forget the best way to do it, I normally have my camera in like camera mode and I place it against my window. And that way it always reminds me to keep in mind that you want the light hitting your face and not the camera lens. It always looks much better, particularly if you're a bit of an Instagrammer. Now, say you're all indoors, it's nighttime, and you want to get really good lighting. A lot of YouTubers end up looking like immaculate. Do you guys know what type of lighting this person may have done to kind of get such well-lit face? Softbox? I mean, on this particular one, they didn't, yes, ring light. I'm guessing you make a lot of films. So this person, is it Zoe Snug or is it Zoella? Snug. All right. Sorry, I've got someone whispering in my ear. Thanks, Tony. And they use something called a ring light. Now, this is just a simple light. You can literally buy them online really cheap. And, well, you can buy bad ones really cheap. If you want a good one, they're expensive. And it just lights the face up. It gets like good angles, or you might use soft boxes, which is like a light which has some fabric over it, which can kind of like balance the light out. I'm guessing maybe some of you might not have that, and that's completely okay. So what I will do is kind of get my like bedroom lights, and as long as you have like 2 or 3, you can kind of get all the lights around you. And then maybe you could get something like tracing paper or baking tray paper and put over the lights. And what it does, it will like diffuse the light to kind of make it more like balanced rather than so intense. Okay, also a computer/TV screen that's on a white, that's really good. I've never thought of that. So yeah, guys, what you could do is like on your TV or computer, if it's white, then it will give you enough light. And that's a really good tip. I'm going to steal that for the future. But I think the most important thing to get out of this is that filmmaking doesn't have to be expensive. Having a bit of money can make it easier, but it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be better. One of my favorite movies, 28 Days Later, you know, the zombie movie, was shot like on a handheld HD camera, like a really basic one, and it turned out great. So for sound, we've got doing a lot of rules today. Sound, I would say, is by far the most important thing when it comes to filmmaking. And the reason I say that is that do any of you guys have like really bad internet connection? Mine's holding up today, but you can, for instance, have a video which has terrible quality in terms of like the visuals, and you'll still watch it because you can hear it, it's okay. But if you swap it around and you have HD 4K visuals, but the sound is terrible, people just disconnect. They don't bother watching it. Now, you've got your sound quality on your mobile phone, but not gonna lie, it's terrible. Quality on your phone is bad, as well as if any of you have a DSLR camera. So do you guys have any suggestions on how we can get better sound quality on a phone? Or a camera even? External mic, yes. Any ideas for like free? You got no money whatsoever and you want to get better sound quality. Come on, Joyce, I know you got some ideas. Yeah. Phone mic specifically, yeah. Now, there are some paid options. So for instance, I've got a lapel mic, which is just a little thing here you kind of clip on, and I've got a special adapter, which means it works with my phone, because not all of them will work with your phone jack. If any of you have the new iPhone, I feel sorry for you. So that works. Or I have this little thing, which plugs into my phone. So this is a fluffy thing. If you have a big boom pool, they used to call them dead cats, not because it is a dead cat, I hope, but because it's all like fluffy. Now, if you pull it out, you can see that we've got a microphone there, and it literally just kind of like plugs in like that, and yeah, it works pretty good. The annoying thing is though, I don't always have this on me, and to be honest, it's a bit expensive and it's easy to lose. So the best thing to do is, if you hold your phone an arm's width of distance apart like that, that is the best distance to hold your phone when recording. Because if you hold it too near, it does a thing called peaking, which the sound volumes go too high and it sounds terrible. And if you take it too far away, it sounds really quiet, no one can hear you. So an arm's distance keeps it a good length. But when you're recording someone else, right, typically you'll stand quite far away, and that's just bad quality. So you still want it to be an arm's distance away from someone. During lockdown, you know, disclaimer, do not do it with someone who doesn't live in your household. I'm not being held responsible, but normally it's okay. Another thing you could do is project your voice. So what I'm doing right now is, I'm not shouting, because if I was shouting, it would sound like that. But I'm not talking normally, because this is my normal voice. Projecting is just when you kind of like talk from the gut, and you're like, and it just makes sure the sound quality really picks you up. Another thing which can work is, if you cup your hand and you can put it over the mic there in windy situations, and it can make that like sound less obvious. Another thing which you can do is do a sound test. So before I'm about to record myself or someone else, I'll always record a few seconds, listen back to it, and listen to what I can hear. And then I'll see, what can I do to minimize that sound? Maybe I can like turn off my light switch, turn off the fan, get rid of the cat in the house, do that. Or you might record something, play back, and you'll realize, oh man, there was an aeroplane in the sky. And there's nothing worse than having like noisy cars or traffic. And what I truly recommend is stop filming and start again. So many people just be like, eh, and carry on. All right, we've got another comment here. Maybe use another phone if you have and record on a voice memo close up. I clap at the beginning of the shot so I can sync them. Yeah, great answer. So you guys may have a spare phone that you could borrow from someone else, like a dictaphone or some other recording equipment, and you can record multiple audios. So if someone is speaking the other side of the garden, you can give them the phone and go like, and if you're using editing software, it makes it a lot easier to join together. They are the best ones I got for sound quality, but bear in mind, wind, it's difficult. I think a good way to explain why sound is so hard to get right is the way our ears work, right? They're pretty magic things. Oh, I've got quite big ears. And they hear lots of information, and naturally our brains choose what to listen to and what not to listen to. So if your parents ever said, oh, you only listen to what you want to hear, they've actually kind of got a point. But when you're using something like a camera or a phone, that listens to absolutely everything. And that's why you might not think there's any sounds, but there actually are. And we've also got subtitles, good for accessibility. I like that, thinking about everyone. YouTube does have automatic subtitles, but sometimes they're a little bit dodgy. I've been watching a lot of Studio Ghibli lately, or is it Ghibli or Ghibli? Ghibli. And if you ever watch any anime, the subtitles are terrible. They do not match up the English dubs at all. I feel like I'm watching a completely different movie. But you can add your own subtitles. You can either have them so they're like soft coded, which means someone can turn them off and on, or hard coded, which means they're always in the video no matter what. Yeah. So that's sound. Now for framing. I hope you got, thumbs up if you guys are still doing okay? Nice. If you guys didn't put your thumbs up, I wasn't looking, but I think you're all happy. So framing is essentially about how you can get it looking the best possible. So many people make movies, right? Oh yes, Tony's making notes. I like to see that. Sorry, I'm spying on all of you guys at the same time. A lot of people just kind of film like that, right? And it's always so wobbly and shaky. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. What you really want to do is just get like a nice kind of grip. I normally get my elbows, right? I'm going to like put them like a little bit under my ribs if I'm recording for like 10, 15 minutes, because it gets wobbly. Like doing the old kind of like holding it and changing it, you always think you can get away with it, but trust me, you can't. So nice and steady. Now, another thing you could do is get a tripod, which is, like sticks, or just balance it on some books. I've got this little majiggy here, which you can get these off Amazon for less than £5, or actually less than £1 if you buy a really bad one, and a tripod for £1. So you see there, it holds it up, and this guarantees it's going to be nice and steady. You can't really fix wobbly camera work on a computer. It says you can, but it never really looks that good. So that in mind. The next thing about framing is, say if you want to record someone, always make sure you have about a thumb's width above their head, so they have a little bit of headroom. Because what a lot of people end up doing is recording so their head's kind of cut off, and it looks terrible. So make sure you've got enough room up there. Whew, okay, and this image here, it shows the photo kind of split into thirds. Now on your phones, you can normally put a filter on which shows those kind of lines. Is anyone feeling brave enough and knowledgeable enough to explain what the rule of thirds is? Okay. Anyone? All right. I will go. I guess it's me. Oh, okay, so rule of thirds is an artistic thing, which means if you have an image, right, a photo of pretty much anything, and you were to draw a line like that, if the subject, the person, is slightly to the right or slightly to the left or one of those kind of lines, apparently it's more aesthetically pleasing and beautiful. And this has just been a common theme forever. Look at, I don't have a photo around me, but nearly any image you see, like the one on the screen, her core facial features are down the center of the line. And on the left side, there's negative space. That makes her look more interesting, according to science. But if you're doing, say, a YouTube video and it's more of a vlog, you don't have to really follow that sort of rule. Yeah, favorite person so far. You might, for instance, look directly at the camera lens. By looking directly at the camera lens, you're connecting to a person. The way I always describe it is that a documentary is talking to as many people as possible, right? But a vlog is only talking to one person. And that's why you might say for an interview, typically you have someone to the side looking in like a diagonal direction, but a vlog is straight on. So those are the main things for framing. Now, this one isn't necessarily a rule, it's more a word of warning. Background. Background is so important, and it can tell you so much about someone. So this is a messy bedroom. Clean your room up, because it's going to be on camera forever. I, for instance, put a big white screen up because I have random cats outdoors that keep coming in my house and causing chaos, and I didn't want you guys getting distracted, even if it would look adorable. So always think, what's in the background? Does it add to my movie, or does it take away from the movie? If you're doing a movie, say, about football, and you've got a football court, pitch in the background, perfect. If you're doing a thing about football, and you've got, I don't know, what's not related? Like a basketball hoop in the background, it doesn't make sense. It takes away from the narrative. Or another thing which a lot of people make a mistake is if they might have like text in the background, and that can also make distracting because people always read text, even if you're talking to them. So on my presentation, for example, I've only put a couple of words on each slide because I know every time you're reading something, it means you're not listening to me and thus distracting. So just to summarize these lovely rules, phone orientation. I recommend landscape for most things, but you can do portrait if you're filming things such as like stories. It honestly does look more professional and it makes editing in the future far, far easier. But the rule of thumb is whatever platform you want to show it on is the platform you should kind of take into consideration. Lighting, natural light, so the sunshine, always the best by far. I always advise like beginning of the day, end of the day, because it's the nicest light. Sound quality, sound is terrible on a phone, so call no further than an arm's distance. Otherwise, the sound quality is going to be really bad. And framing, just hold it steady really, or get a couple of books. Simple stuff, all really simple things that I'm sure most of you already knew, but these are things that time and time again, people just ignore. All right, so now that's kind of the rules and kind of like tips and tricks sorted. Next is about how do you actually go about making the video? Now, today is just a quick session, so we won't have time to actually make a video, but it's hopefully giving you all the tools and skills necessary to go out into like the wide world and make something great. Now, I do edit on a computer, okay, so I use Final Cut X mostly on my Mac, which is, it's a nice, easy program, easy to use. You might use, say, Premiere Pro is the best one for most people, which works on PC and Mac, but there are free editing softwares you can use. I, however, use more and more, use my mobile phone to edit. And the reason why I use that is not because mobile phone editing is better, but because it's more convenient. if I want to get a movie out really fast, I don't have time to record on my device, get it to my computer, edit it, export it. I want it really quick now. So these are the apps that I use. Now, there's so many more apps that you could pick, all right? These aren't necessarily the best. They're just the ones that I like the best. So iMovie is the most easiest for iPhones, and it's nearly always free. So I recommend that to start off with if you've never done editing before. Power Director is on Android and now is on iPhones. I don't think it never used to be. That's the one I personally use the most because it has a lot of good features and I just find it very user-friendly. Now, just so you know, with that one, it is free, but it does have like a little like watermark in the corner. So I paid about £5 or like $5 to remove that watermark. So it's kind of is paid, but it's very cheap, and I personally think it was worth it. And the last one is quite new, is Adobe Premiere Rush. So it used to be called Adobe Premiere Clip, and this is free, but also has paid options, but the free version works perfectly good. And what's really great about this one, bear in mind, it's a little bit harder to get used to, but once you've gone over that learning curve, it's not so bad. You can edit it on your phone, and then it can upload to the computer, and that works great. All right, do we get any more messages? All right, no. How similar is it to the desktop app? Okay, so Rush, it's not really similar, no, but they try to stylize it so it looks the same. If you can use the computer program, you can 100% use the app. If you can use the app, you might have a little bit of learning to do to be able to use the computer program. But like I said, there are many different ones. That's just the one I use well. There is a way of getting rid of watermarks. I did it on a version of cheeky. I hope it was legal. Now, again, there are other ones such as there's Splice, which is by the makers of GoPro, and they again have a watermark which you can actually disable. So I think it's about like trial and error. Now, these are really fiddly, by the way. If you've got really fat thumbs, you're going to struggle. But these also work on tablets. So once you've got your editing apps and you've learned how to use them, bear in mind, we've got a very young audience. So hopefully all of you would be able to use these apps, because if you know how to use a mobile phone, they're pretty intuitive. But if you do get stuck, YouTube is a glorious place. And it has so many tutorials to use all of them really in depth. Whew. All right, guys, we're doing well. This is a lot of talking for one day. So positives during lockdown. Any more else? So I keep interrupting my screen. Now we know how to do the filming and we know how to edit the film, or at least what to use. What possibly can we make a video on? Now, today is more about learning skills. Hopefully you guys gain a little like tip or trick here and there, but we do have a competition of winning £50/$, whatever country or currency you use, or to get towards recording equipment. And if you want to be a part of that, it was given to us very kindly by a charitable organization called Peace First. And all you need to do is submit a 1 or 2 minute video today, just outlining some positives that have come out of lockdown. And the reason we're doing this is that there's a lot of doom and gloom, you know, all the world's ending, but there's also so many positives. And I think it's quite easy to forget that. Just some examples, not limited to, is time with family. Maybe you've bonded really well with your family and you've got to spend time with them, and it's not something you normally get to do. Alternatively, maybe you've played a game of Monopoly and now you're no longer talking to each other, but hopefully you've got some good memories. Another one is peacefulness. So London, where I live, is really busy. There's so much going on and it can be quite stressful, even for your mental health. So by having it a lot peaceful, like each Saturday, I normally go out for a cycle ride, keeping distance, and I found it's been a really welcome break. So I'll be making videos about that. Other things could be about the environment. So the world has actually been loving the lockdown. In Wales, in the UK, we've got like little goats who have like returned to the valleys. In Italy, in Venice, we've got dolphins that are loving the water. They're enjoying the wide open space. On satellite imagery, China has cleared up on its pollution. So there's been some really great positives as a result. And also for self-development. And so today, all of you are doing self-development. Congrats. This is about just bettering yourself. What can you do to learn a new skill in the day? Maybe you're reading books. Maybe you're listening to audiobooks. I'm listening to an audiobook at the moment called Sapiens, which is awesome. Highly recommend it. I'm not being sponsored by them. Yes. I've read the trilogy now. So there's Sapiens, Homo Deus, that's it right? And then 21 lessons for the 21st century. Really good. So recommend. Oh, another good recommendation, by the way, not related to filmmaking in the slightest, is The Alchemist. That only took me 4 hours to do. Great time one. Okay, guys, before this turns into a book club, maybe you're learning a new language. Maybe you're learning to like play different musical instruments. Maybe you're just trying to get really better at video games. Oh, yes, ukulele. Oh, the ukulele, brilliant. Cool, so any of those things. Now, last ones I've got is solidarity. So this essentially means supporting other people. In the UK, every Thursday, I think it is, people go out in the street and they start like, woo! They start clapping, kind of showing everyone that we appreciate our health workers, our nurses, our doctors. Maybe your countries have something similar. Like, how are you showing support? When I walk down my street, there's rainbows all over the place. And it's to show that, you know, we care, we support you. And any message? Yeah, yes, 8 p.m. every Wednesday, yeah. First of all, when I heard all the banging outdoors, I had no idea what was going on. Yesterday was also VE Day, which marked the end of World War II. I think it was like 75 years ago. And we had a big street party, neighbours of all different ages. We all got together from a safe distance and celebrated. And you know what? I thought that was really beautiful. The next one is community. Have you or has anyone offered to go and pick up shopping for you? I've been getting letters through my letterbox saying, if you're unable to go to the shops, call this number and we'll do it for you. That's a great story. So any of these subjects are perfect when it comes to showing the positives of the outbreak. Do any of you guys have any other ideas that like we can mention? Yeah, any things which you think has been good. Connecting with friends, definitely. I've been having lots of I've been using House Party and been having like little quizzes with my friends. It's been quite good. Used a lot of a website called Kahoot, which is fun for quizzes. That's across the world. I have friends across the world, and now they're just as close as the ones who live on the same street. Brilliant. Mental healing, definitely. I tell you, I needed this break. If any of you are currently working, I've been put on furlough, which means I'm being paid to have a holiday. I'm loving life. So there are, obviously, I feel for everyone else who's going through a really hard time, but it's still okay to be like, this is benefiting me. So these are just some ideas. Now, when you are making your videos, try and put a little bit of energy into it, because I'll be honest with you, I've watched thousands of videos off of YouTube because I've been a freelancer for them, and part of my job was reviewing their videos. So many videos are so dull. It's people like, hello, so today I'm going to be talking about 10 things you love about The Simpsons and 10 things you hate. Really dull. So try and put a bit of energy into it. It doesn't have to mean you have to be as excited as I am all the time. Just whatever emotion you're going for, just heighten it up a little bit. and it will make it really more enjoyable. Now, the format I use is pretty simple. So this one is a really basic template, and I can send it to you guys after, but it's just a quick cycle. So first of all, we start with an introduction. So I might be like, hi guys, I'm Nat, and today I'm going to be talking about 5 positives of the lockdown. And you might, for instance, put your country if you want to promote it. So hi guys, I'm Nat from the UK, and I'm going to be talking about how I've been using my time effectively. And the next thing is the issue or the problem. So whatever it is, your video needs to have a subject. Now, I always try to do my videos in like stocks of 3, because 3 is a magic number. And for some reason, us humans remember and freeze. It's just the way our brains work. So I might say, I've loved how the community has come together, you know, how we're all supporting each other, and the environment is really starting to heal. So that's 3 points. Obviously, I would expand upon them a little bit further. And then the conclusion. So this is, judging by all the things you've mentioned, what is the takeaway? Maybe, you know, yes, it sucks that the world, we aren't able to go out like we used to, but this has brought me closer together, and as a result, I have learned something. Or it could be a call to action. So guys, after watching this video, I hope you remember, stay at home. It really does save lives. Or don't forget to like and subscribe. You know, whatever it is, there has to be a call to action. And finally, you're done. Now, when it comes to length, you guys can do any time you want. I recommend a 1 to 2 minutes, purely because people, honestly, our attention spans are terrible. People get bored so quick. So 1 to 2 minutes, great. If you feel quite confident at video making, I reckon 4 minutes is a good time. But if you're on YouTube, you'll probably notice that most videos are about 10 minutes long. This is due to advertising because they get more money. If you've got a new YouTube account with like less than, 12,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers, you're not going to make any money. So there's no point in stretching out a video that long just for the sake of it. And okay, let's get filming. And yep, now is just a few health and safety things, because I don't want to get sued. Is just to make sure you guys are all having a good time. If you are filming anyone, always ask for permission. So when I'm recording this now, and you guys all have to click saying you consent, and if I'm filming someone like right by me, I need to ask permission. Now, this could be getting them to sign a bit of paper, or you could just record them saying, I give consent for you to use this, or to record me, or to edit it. But if you're, say, in town and you record a group of people in the distance, you do not have to go and get permission from every single person. Now, these are the rules for the UK, but as far as I'm aware, they're pretty similar, like in the US and other places, but do obviously check depending on where you are. The next one is, remember to practice social distancing. I know I sound like a broken record, and I promise you I'm not being paid by the like health service, but you've got to keep safe. It's so easy just to forget. At this moment, it's a real threat, so please keep the distance. And lastly, which is probably the most important one when it actually comes to filmmaking, review your video before sending. Is it appropriate? This isn't to scare you, but whatever you record is on, if you upload it, it is on there for life. And it is really important, because you can delete something, but it still is in the cloud somewhere, and it's never really gone. An example is, if you Google me, you don't have to, you'll see lots of pictures of me in a suit, right, kind of giving talks. But I think it's disappeared now, but for a long time, if you kept scrolling down, there was a picture of me topless with a kangaroo. No matter what I could do in life, I couldn't get rid of that kangaroo. And that just shows you that when you upload things like YouTube and Facebook, you don't necessarily own that material anymore. And say like years later, when you're trying for a job, yeah, kangaroos are cute. Okay, I'll explain that in a second. Years later, like you're applying for a job, someone may go on your thing and be like, You said that. If you guys have been following Elon Musk on Twitter recently, he's been saying some really weird stuff, and his tweets have greatly affected his stock price for Tesla. I think he also named his kids something like I can't even pronounce. And just so you guys understand why there was a picture of me with a kangaroo, I went to Australia, I went to see the zoo, and then it was very hot out, so I was topless. Everyone was, it wasn't just me. I was laying next to a kangaroo. It's fine, okay? Move on. So yeah, just be careful. Now, lastly, guys, we're almost done here, and you guys are very welcome to ask questions at the end. To win some equipment today, and it's just a fun thing. Even if you don't want the equipment, I still recommend it. Record a 1 or 2 minute video about something positive that you have seen during the lockdown. And what we're going to do, we're going to get all the videos from all over the world, get them together and cut them all up, stick them together and make some just nice little videos we can post on social media that shows positives. And it doesn't have to be long. I might only take a few little seconds from each clip. But if you can, guys, that would be amazing. All you need to do is send it to admin@divergentthinking.uk by the 10th of May at midnight UK time. So make sure you get the right time if you're in another country. Midday, not midnight, midday. And just so you're unaware, when you're uploading videos via email, normally you'll run out of space. It will say you've exceeded the limit. So I use a service such as WeTransfer, which is good for sending large files, or you might use something like Google Docs. Alternatively, you could just send me the URL, like the link for YouTube, and that would also work because I can download that pretty easy. And winners will be selected by the 20th of May, so we'll definitely get in contact. And I recommend subscribing to our channels, you know, like and subscribe. So those are the main things. Now let's get everyone back. I'll stop sharing my screen. And how do we unmute people? So yeah, do you guys have any questions? So put your hands up or message and I'll unmute you. Okay, 1 second. Cool, yeah, go for it.
Hey, I just wondered whether there's a way for people in this call to connect with each other if they wanted to, because I guess if this was a real life workshop, we might chat to each other and then take social media or something, but also maybe that's not appropriate. I'm not sure.
I think it's fine. So what I would say is, guys, if you are happy to be contacted by people, and only if you're happy, and I recommend being over 16, I'm looking at you, Lucy. So put your me in the chat function, and you guys can add each other. Cool. Anyone else?
Wait 1 second.
Okay, I will unmute. So I have unmute. Okay, you guys are all unmuted now, so you're very welcome if you have any.
5 minutes.
Oh, dinner's in 5 minutes. Okay, so guys, do not worry. We will be wrapping up in time for dinner. And what I'm going to do at the end of this, I'm going to send you guys an email with the slides so you can kind of see what we spoke about today. And again, a little bit about, we'll probably send you a survey just so we can get some feedback on, did you guys like this? What we did well, what we can improve. It'd be awesome. And we can go from there. So last chance, any questions or forever hold your peace? Yes, Catherine?
Basically, I've got an idea for a video.
Okay. Oh, sorry, can you speak a bit louder?
I've got an idea for a video, but it's not exactly.
Oh no, you disappeared. Where'd you go? Okay, try again.
Okay, right, sorry. It'll probably be my internet. So I've got an idea for a video, but it's not necessarily following the formula that you set. Is that still appropriate, or?
Do you know what? Be creative. I think one thing I know about filmmaking is today I taught you guys all the basics, but rules, apart from the Corona ones, are there to be broken. So by all means think, what can I do to be creative? Like, could I do an animation instead? Could I do a documentary? Could I do, I don't know. What did you have in mind, or is it a secret? I have no idea what you're saying because of the internet, but I imagine it was a really good idea.
All these he's been doing is like an isolation series. And one of the things that he did, or he does towards his end of his videos, is like he'll do readings of poems, like shots.
Oh yeah.
So I like that idea in terms of just like, because I'm traditionally photography, so I like the idea of like shots with, or like a voiceover of something.
Oh no, that works really well. Ken Burns, who's a famous director, does really good kind of like still photography with kind of like slow movements and voiceovers over the top. So yeah, by all means, be creative. Anyone else? William, you've been awfully quiet. Enough said. Man of little words. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm going to leave it all there. Now, hope you enjoyed, but feel free to put your details in the chat, and I'll leave this open for a little bit longer, and I will message you guys. But I hope you guys all enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, do a little reaction. Like, there we are.
How do I do that?
Yay!
How do I do that?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
at the
same.
bottom of the screen, there's a little smiley face with a plus, and you can put a little thumbs up.
Oh, okay.
Well, I can't find it, to be honest.
And
Let me check. Oh, wait.
Guys, if you don't do it, it means you hate it today. Come on. Brilliant. All right, guys, that's enough.
Thumbs up.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. All right, well, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed today. Bye.
Thank you. You too.
oh,
That was great.
Bye.
Nice to see you all.
Bye. Thank you.
Hope everyone enjoys the rest of the day. Take care.
oh.